Boating terminology is very important when you're out on the water. If you're a beginner, learning these essentials is very important. And if you're an expert, brushing up on them once in a while is also very important. So today we're going to be walking you guys through our 26-foot center console here, going over all the basic boating terminology that you guys should know. What is going on, guys? Ryan from Livin here. Today we're doing a little bit of an educational boating video for you guys. If you take a look over to my side over here, it is really windy out. Definitely can't go fishing, not even inshore today on Little Salt. I was sitting at home thinking about it, and I put out tons and tons of boat walkthrough videos for you guys, a lot of them targeted towards beginner boaters. But I mentioned all these terms and I was thinking about it, and you guys might not know what these terms are. So we're here to explain that a little bit better for you guys today. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So as always, if you see my walkthrough videos, we're gonna go ahead and start at the bow of the boat, which leads us to our first terms, your directional navigational terms. So we're gonna have the bow of the boat, which is gonna refer to anything in the front area of the boat. This is gonna be the front section. So this is going to be our bow seating, our port and starboard side, which we'll get to in a second. And this is going to be the whole bow of the boat. Now, making our way towards the back of the boat, we're going to have our midship, which is clearly going to be identified on most boats by our cleat. This is going to be our midship cleat. That's going to refer to the middle section of the boat. And then finally, we will make our way over to the stern of the boat, which is going to refer to the back section of your boat. This is going to include your cockpit space, your transom, your motors, usually some live wells and bait wells, tackle station, and all that kind of good stuff. And finally, we're going to have the transom of our boat here, which is going to refer to the very back of the fiberglass section of the boat. So you can see our style boat is called a Euro transom, where the motors are mounted directly onto the hull. There are other boats that are called bracketed boats, where the motors will be attached to a bracket that's going to hang off the back of the fiberglass section of the boat. That bracket is not considered the transom. Where the fiberglass ends is considered the transom of the boat. So in our case, it's right where our motors hang off of on the stern of the boat. This is the transom. Now, lastly, we're going to have the port and starboard side of the boat, which I think is what confused people the most. So the port side of the boat is going to be the left side of the boat when you're facing the bow. So when you're driving at the helm, and you're facing towards the bow of the boat, the port side is going to be on the left, your starboard side is going to be on your right. Now, knowing the difference between port and starboard side on your vessel is very important, because in a situation, let's say, where you're docking, you're going to have your captain that's maybe facing forward, you're going to have a passenger looking backwards watching the rear for you, and they could be saying, watch out, go to your left or go to your right. And your left and right is going to be different than their left and right. So instead of saying on my left or on my right, we use, in nautical terms, port and starboard side of the boat. Those do not change no matter what. Facing the bow, the left side of the boat is always going to be the port. Facing the bow on the right side is always going to be the starboard. It stays that way no matter which way you're facing, no matter which boat you're on, and they keep it that way, so it's a very universal term. So anybody that says there's a boat approaching on the port side knows which direction that boat is approaching from. It'll be approaching off the left side of our boat over here. Now, there's some other instances you might be using these terms for when you're fishing. A lot of times you'd be like, off the bow, 200 feet away, there's fish jumping. Or off the starboard side of the boat, 50 yards away, there was a big tuna blowing up. Or off the stern, we have dolphins following us. Somewhere along those lines, you just end up using these terms, whether you're just a boater or a fisherman. They really come in handy, and it's a very universal language for everybody to use and quickly understand, especially in times of need when you need to have quick communication like that. So it's very important to know these kind of directional nautical terms. Probably the most important thing you're going to get out of today's video. Okay, so let's start talking about some seating options on boats. Like I said, we are on a 26-foot center console. A lot of the videos that you guys will see me cover on the channel right now are going to be center consoles. So these are a lot of the typical seating options you'll see. Here we're going to have a bow seating on our boat. This is going to be molded into the fiberglass. So if you take a look down here, it's not going to be a foldable bow seating area where they're going to fold down and completely out of the way. Ours are molded into the deck of the boat, so you can stand up on them. They're completely sturdy, but there's no getting rid of them. So this is our bow seating. This is going to be the port side seating. This is going to be the starboard side seating. And I like to call this a U-shaped seating because it's connected all the way around, making a U shape. Next up, we have our forward-facing console seat. So this is going to be forward-facing or bow-facing. and it's connected to our console, so it's a console seat. Next up, we have our helm seat over here. So helm seat is going to be for your captain, usually one other passenger. We have a bench style seat here, so you can see it's one continuous seat. There's no sections, no dividers or anything here, so it's a bench styled seat. Compared to a captain seat, which is going to have bolsters or some sort of divider between the seats, distinguishing where the people can sit. I really like a bench style seat because you can cram a whole bunch of people on here, but they do make some very comfortable captain style seating at for these new boats at the boat shows. So I might be a fan of the captain seats now, I don't know, but we have a bench style seat here on our center console, and this is called our helm seat because we are at the helm station, which we'll get to in a couple minutes, but that is where we are going to drive the boat. Our center controls is called our helm, so this is going to be the seating for our helm. Lastly, for our seating options, we would have a transom seat, which we actually don't have ours on our boat right now, but it would be right here towards the stern of the boat, right near the transom, hence the name, the transom seat. Now, speaking of the upholstery of our boat, let's just talk about coaming bolsters, by the way. So that is going to refer to these cushions that wrap around the sides of your boat. Now, a lot of boats, there are going to be a lot of different configurations. Here, we're going to have a transom bolster here, and we're going to have port and starboard bolsters on left and right side. We're not going to have bolsters going throughout the entire boat. They go all the way around. Now, moving on from our upholstery options, we're going to be talking about some hatches that you're going to find on boats. So starting off with the bow of the boat, we are going to have our anchor locker or anchor hatch. If you see, it's going to flip on open. Here's where you're going to store all of your anchor line. You're going to have maybe a windlass in here. You're maybe going to have your anchor, depending on your boat. So our setup here, we're going to have a windlass, which is going to refer to an electronic motor that lifts up and drops down your anchor. Makes it a lot easier for anchoring. You don't have to pull up and pull down. Really, really nice to have. If you get a boat with a windlass, it's a game changer for anchoring. But ours is mounted up here, up on the bow, and we're going to have our anchor sit off of the pulpit of the front of the boat. So all we're going to have in our anchor locker is just our line. But that is going to be our anchor hatch. Now, a lot of times underneath the forward seating you're going to see on the center consoles, you're going to find fish boxes or under seating storage compartments. You can see on the port and starboard side of the boat over here, we are going to have some storage. Obviously we use it for storage, but could also be used as a fish box. Now, our boxes here are not going to be foam insulated, meaning in between these two layers of fiberglass, a lot of manufacturers nowadays like to insert foam in there, which is basically replicating your favorite Yeti coolers and all those high-end, really, really good coolers that keep ice for days and days. A lot of the manufacturers now, or some of them do, they make foam insulated fish boxes on their boats, which is really cool. Unfortunately, ours is not insulated, so it's not going to hold ice for very long, but that is the difference between a foam insulated and a non-insulated fish box. Real quick, if you guys are enjoying today's video, make sure you hit the like button. Let me know in the comments what you are finding to be the most useful so far. Like I said, I'm going to keep using these terms as much as I can throughout the video. Like I said, this is the port fish box and the starboard fish box. We have the bow anchor locker over here. I'm going to keep saying these terms so until it gets engraved in your guys' mind and you're all ready to go out on the water. Now, on our boat specifically, we are going to have two hatches on the port and starboard side of our boat, which are going to be used for storage. We're going to have a tackle storage box here, and we're going to have just a general storage compartment here. Now, these are going to be called our gunnel storage boxes because they are mounted on the gunnels of the boat. Now, while I mentioned the gunnel mounted storage boxes there, let's go ahead and talk about what the gunnels actually are on a boat. So it's going to be the vertical section of your deck running from the bow to the transom of the boat throughout. This is basically what keeps you in the boat. So you can see on our boat here, the gunnels are pretty nice size. They come way above my kneecap here. They keep you nice and secure inside the boat. A lot of boats you're going to see, some are going to have higher, some are going to have lower gunnels. It's going to depend on your manufacturer and also the style of boat. So you guys have seen me cover some bay boats before. Those all generally have lower gunnels. So they might come only down to here. A little bit easier to fall off the boat, but it's a lot easier to reach to their edge of the water. Then there are other manufacturers. One that comes off the top of my head there is Wellcraft. Generally has higher gunnels on their boats than other manufacturers. It's all going to be their preference and your own personal preference as well. But that is going to refer to the gunnel of the boat, the vertical section of the deck. Now, we actually don't have any of these on our boat, But right about here where I am standing or kneeling would be an in-floor fish box. We don't have any in-floor hatches on our boat, but an in-floor hatch refers to a hatch that is cut out of the floor and drops down below the deck. A lot of those are going to be meant for fish to keep, and a lot of those are going to be insulated nowadays. Like I said, we don't have any on our boat, but this is typically where it would be on the port and starboard side and also scattered throughout the rest of the deck. Now on to my favorite part of the boat. We're going to be talking about the helm station, which is going to refer to the control center for the captain. You can see we have a quite good looking helm station, if I do say so myself here. The helm station is going to consist of some sort of GPS or fish finder. You can see right here we have a single SIMRAD. Hopefully one day we get a second SIMRAD display here. We're gonna have 2 radios, which you might be wondering why there's 2. In case one fails when you're offshore, you got a second one as a backup, always important. We're going to have some storage generally on top of the console at the helm station. So you can see we use it, camera case, sunglasses, phones, all that kind of stuff. You're also going to have a windshield that goes across the helm station here. Ours is going to be an acrylic. Right now we're also going to have our 3-panel isinglass enclosure up because it is the winter time here in Florida. It's getting cold and we're getting a lot of salt spray that's coming around, so this kind of protects us and keeps us dry. In addition, we're also going to have our Suzuki gauges. So on our boat we have 4 gauges for our twin outboards. We're going to have our on-off switch, we're going to have our steering wheel, and we're going to have our throttle controls right here. Now underneath our wheel you are going to see this is where our switches are going to be located. These are going to be accessory switches to control everything. It's like your live well pumps, your raw water wash down, your salt water wash down, your bilge pump, lights on the boat. This is going to be like the command center, all your switches that you'll need for your boat. Ours are located under our wheel. Sometimes they'll be located on top of the dash, just depends on the boat. So the cockpit of your boat is going to refer to the back section towards the stern of the boat, which is going to be your fishing area. So this is our cockpit area of our boat, really big, nice open area, you can see. But this is going to be your available space to walk around towards the stern of the boat. And then also you're going to have your tackle station right off the back of the helm seat over here. You can see we don't have much of a tackle station, just little cup holders and little knife holders and stuff. But the tackle station is going to refer to the attached terminal tackle areas for you to store all your stuff on the back of the helm seat. Now towards the stern of the boat, we're going to have 1 bait well and 1 live well on our boat in particular. Now this is going to be our bait well. You can see it's a very shallow well. There's going to be no air that gets pumped into this. The only thing we're going to have is 1 little small drain. Basically we use this to cut up any bait in and just drains out like blood or anything like that, or some ice or water. But it's used to cut up bait, used as a little bit of storage. Now the main difference when you take a look at our live well, you can see it is very deep. We do not use this for any storage because we keep it free for when we catch some live bait on the boat, but it's very deep. We're gonna have water that's gonna get pumped in through underneath the boat, get pumped in here and keep the fish alive, and then all the overflow is going to get drained right back out into the water. So that's the difference between a live well and a bait well on a boat. Towards the transom of the boat, we are going to have our bilge access here. I will be the first to admit, because I'm the one that works on the boat down here in the bilge, our bilge access is terrible on our boat. It is a very tight area over here. Not the neatest when it comes to all the poses and wiring and stuff like that, but it is a 20-year-old boat, so we can forgive her for that. But our bilge access is going to be on the transom of your boat or towards the transom of your boat. It's going to have things like your bilge pump, which is going to be what saves you if you start taking on water. It's going to pump water out the side. You're also going to find other pumps in here, like we have our saltwater washdown pump. You're going to have some through holes in here. We have our batteries in here. A lot of boats do not have the battery in the bilge anymore, but it's just going to be an area you're going to want to keep clean. You're going to want to check regularly, make sure there's no loose wires and all that kind of stuff. Make sure your bilge pump works before you go out every time. We just had to fix ours. So this is your bilge access, and you're going to find it towards the transom of any boat. Now I could sit here and talk to you guys all day about boating terminology and keep walking around our boat, but we're going to be cutting off there for today. So really quickly, to go over some of the most important factors, to talk about the bow of the boat, the stern of the boat, the port and starboard side of the boat. Make sure you guys know your nautical directional terms. It's really important, especially for safety on a boat. Let's say you have a friend falls overboard while you're at the sandbar. Just being able to shout out that he's off the port side of the boat instead of wondering where left side, right side of the boat it is. Very important for safety, guys. Make sure you guys know your directional nautical terms. Probably the most important thing from today's video. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys hit the like button. Definitely consider subscribing down below. Also, let me know if you want to see more of these educational type videos down in the comments below. I'm gonna go ahead and link another video. It's gonna be a boat walkthrough video over here on the left side of the screen. Go watch all these terms being put into action at the actual boat shows. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy that. Thank you again for watching. Until my next video, remember to keep living salty.